I'm flying in Pachacámac again today. My mission today is to gain altitude, to use the wind. There aren't many thermals at this hour, so I want to use the wind to climb and try to make a U-shaped approach. Usually here in Pachacámac, we do S-shaped or figure-8 approaches. But this time, I want to gain altitude so I can show you how to perform a U-shaped approach. This U-shaped approach is a bit more technical, but it's very useful, especially in areas where there's a lot of traffic in the landing zone. If we all do S-turns and there are 3 or 4 paragliders doing that maneuver at the same time, there's a higher chance of collisions or interference between them. On the other hand, a U-shaped landing is much more organized because it creates more space between paragliders. It's very simple. The idea is to position ourselves at the beginning of the landing field, either on the right or on the left side, and then, if we have too much altitude, lose it by doing 360-degree turns. If we're on the right side of the field, we'll turn to the right, and if we're on the left side, we'll turn to the left. Once we have the proper height to begin the approach itself, we'll start the downwind leg, then make the base leg, and finally the final leg, facing into the wind. Now we can adjust our altitude if we miscalculate. At any point along this path, downwind, base, or final, we can make small corrections. For example, during the downwind leg, if we're too high, we can fly a bit farther. If we're too low, we shorten this leg, turning earlier than planned. The same goes for the base leg. If we're high, we make it longer. If we're low, we make it shorter. And during the final approach, we can make small S-turns, little 90-degree turns, to regulate our altitude. So this kind of approach allows us to make adjustments at any time, and also gives other paragliders a chance to make their own safe, low-traffic approaches. I've already gained about 100 meters. I think that should be enough height to start the U-shaped approach and reach the beginning of the landing field with enough altitude, at least to make one 360-degree turn. I'm also going to use the speed bar. Since the wind is blowing against me, I'm flying into the wind. The most efficient thing is to use the speed bar, not 100%, maybe 30%, just to give the glider a bit more performance. Right now, I'm accelerating about 30%, which means I'll move faster and also descend a bit faster. But in the long run, the result is that I'll cover more distance. If I feel the wind picking up, I can accelerate a bit more to make it more efficient. The amount of acceleration will depend on how strong the headwind is. I'll stop accelerating now because I can feel the wind has weakened. Here I can see the landing field. So in this case, I'll position myself on the left side of the landing zone, the far side, because I still have good altitude. Once I reach the last corner, I'll make a 360-degree turn to the left, since I'm on the left side, to lose more altitude. Then I'll make my downwind leg, my base leg, and finally face into the wind. I should have about 100 meters above the landing area, enough to make one 360-degree turn for demonstration purposes, because in reality, it wouldn't even be necessary. Remember that at any point along this U-shaped path, I can also use big ears. That's completely valid. I could skip the 360 and just do the whole path with big ears. But I'll do the turn for demonstration. I've reached the corner, and from this left-hand corner, I'll do a 360-degree turn to the left to lose altitude.
Como perdiendo altura.
If I still feel too high, I could do 1 or 2 more turns, but right now I'm low enough. So now I turn and start my downwind leg.
A mi trayectoria con viento de cola.
Since I'm already low, I'll shorten this leg and go straight into the base leg. I won't go all the way to the start of the field. I finish my base leg. I'm now flying crosswind, and as I get closer to the ground, I begin my final leg facing into the wind. Close to the ground, I stand up and flare. and that was a U-shaped approach. I have to clarify that this approach, the U-shaped landing, is not a common technique used by pilots here in Lima, or even in most parts of Peru. Usually, since we have so few pilots here, the S-turn or figure-8 approach works quite well. There's not much traffic when landing, and it's a simpler approach, easier to teach and easier to perform. The U-shaped approach becomes important in areas where there's a lot of landing traffic, where more than 2 or 3 paragliders are landing at the same time, to keep everything more organized. But that's rare here. Even in Peru's busiest area, Miraflores, on the coast, it's a top landing where the landing procedure is already predefined. In that site, the pilot simply flies out over the sea, uses big ears, and then returns to the landing zone, always in the same direction. So I need to clarify that this procedure, this technique, is not one I practice regularly. I made this video based on the theory, not so much from my personal experience, so there might be some mistakes. If you're a pilot who performs this maneuver regularly, leave me a comment below. Tell me what mistakes you found in the video, and what other tips you can share with people who want to learn this approach. Thanks a lot for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give it a like if you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.